As the NHL offseason heats up, the rumor mill is buzzing with talk that veteran defenseman Brent Burns could be the next big name on the move. At 39 years old, the San Jose Sharks' iconic blue liner remains one of the league's top offensive defensemen, and with the Toronto Maple Leafs looking to bolster their roster for a deep playoff run, the possibility of acquiring Burns has fans and analysts alike speculating about what it would mean for both teams. This potential trade could be a game-changer for the Maple Leafs, as they've been in the market for a top-tier defenseman who can contribute at both ends of the ice. Brent Burns, with his unique skill set, leadership, and experience, might be exactly the piece Toronto needs to push them over the top and contend for their long-awaited Stanley Cup. Let's take a closer look at why Brent Burns could be heading to Toronto, what he would bring to the Leafs, and how a trade might come together. Brent Burns, a legendary career still going strong. Brent Burns has built a reputation as one of the most dynamic defensemen in the NHL. Over the course of his career, which began with the Minnesota Wild before his long tenure with the San Jose Sharks, Burns has developed into an elite two-way player known for his scoring ability and physical presence. Burns has tallied over 850 points in more than 1,300 career games, an impressive feat for any player, let alone a defenseman. He's won the Norris Trophy as the league's best defenseman, 2017, and has been a perennial all-star. Even as he approaches his 40th birthday, Burns has shown little sign of slowing down, recording 61 points in 82 games during the 2022-2023 season. His powerful shot, offensive instincts, and rugged style of play continue to make him a key contributor for the Sharks. For the Maple Leafs, adding a player of Burns' caliber would immediately improve their defensive core and give them a legitimate power play quarterback capable of changing games with a single shot or pass. While Toronto's offensive firepower has been well documented, their lack of a dominant, offensively minded defenseman has been a glaring weakness, particularly in the playoffs. Why would the Sharks consider moving Burns? The San Jose Sharks are in the midst of a rebuild. After missing the playoffs in consecutive seasons and facing the reality that their championship window has closed, Sharks general manager Mike Grier has begun retooling the roster with an eye toward the future. This process includes trading away veteran players for younger assets and draft capital, as evidenced by the blockbuster Erik Karlsson trade to the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2023. Burns, while still a productive player, is entering the twilight of his career, with 3 years remaining on his contract at a cap hit of $8 million per season. The Sharks may view moving him as a way to clear salary space and accelerate their rebuild. By trading Burns, the Sharks could acquire valuable prospects and picks while also giving younger defensemen like Mario Ferraro and Ryan Merkley more opportunities to develop. Additionally, with the Sharks unlikely to compete for a playoff spot in the immediate future, the organization may want to do right by Burns, allowing him to chase a Stanley Cup with a contending team like the Maple Leafs. Burns has been a loyal soldier for San Jose, and granting him the chance to win a championship elsewhere would be a fitting reward for his years of service. What Burns brings to the Maple Leafs? For Toronto, the motivation behind acquiring Burns is clear. The Maple Leafs have been one of the most potent defensive teams in the NHL over the past several seasons, but their defensive inconsistencies, especially in high-pressure playoff situations, have cost them dearly. Burns could be the missing piece that solidifies their blue line while also adding another weapon to their already lethal power play. Burns' offensive prowess is well known. He has a booming shot from the point and excels at finding seams to get pucks through traffic. His ability to contribute on the power play would take pressure off stars like Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, and John Tavares, allowing them more space to operate. But it's not just Burns' offense that would benefit the Leafs. He's also a reliable defensive presence. While known more for his offense, Burns uses his size, 6'5", 230 pounds, and reach to disrupt opposing forwards. His physical style of play would bring some much-needed grit to Toronto's defense, which has often been criticized for being too soft in the postseason. Burns also brings invaluable experience and leadership to the table. With over 100 playoff games under his belt, including a run to the Stanley Cup Final with the Sharks in 2016, Burns knows what it takes to win in the playoffs. He could serve as a mentor to Toronto's younger defensemen, such as Timothy Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin, while providing a calming veteran presence in the locker room. What would a potential trade look like? If the Maple Leafs are serious about acquiring Brent Burns, the Sharks will likely demand a significant return. While Burns' age and contract may reduce his value somewhat, his production and experience still make him a valuable asset. A trade would almost certainly involve multiple pieces, including a top prospect, a high draft pick, and perhaps a roster player to help balance salaries. One name that has been floated in trade rumors is young defenseman Rasmus Sandin. While Toronto is high on Sandin's potential, parting with him in a deal for Burns might be necessary to make the trade work. Sandin has shown flashes of brilliance but remains unproven in the playoffs, where the Leafs need help the most. The Sharks could view Sandin as a potential building block for their future blue line. In addition to Sandin, the Leafs may need to include a first-round pick or a high-end forward prospect like Nick Robertson to sweeten the deal. The Sharks are focused on adding young talent, and Robertson, who has shown offensive upside at the AHL level, could be an intriguing piece for them. Salary retention will also play a role in any trade involving Burns. With an $8 million cap hit, the Leafs will likely ask the Sharks to retain a portion of Burns' salary to make the deal more palatable. If San Jose is willing to retain 25 to 30% of Burns' salary, it could make the trade more feasible from Toronto's perspective. How would this impact the Maple Leafs? Acquiring Brent Burns would send a clear message that the Toronto Maple Leafs are all in on winning a Stanley Cup in the next few years. Burns' arrival would immediately bolster their defense and provide the kind of leadership and playoff experience that Toronto has sorely lacked in recent seasons. On the ice, Burns would fit seamlessly into Toronto's system, likely pairing with either Morgan Rielly or TJ Brodie to form a formidable top defensive pairing. His presence on the power play would give Toronto one of the most dangerous units in the league, with Matthews, Marner, and Burns all capable of producing highlight reel plays. In the locker room, Burns' personality and leadership would be a welcome addition. Known for his quirky off-ice persona and dedication to the game, Burns would quickly become a fan favorite in Toronto, while his experience would be invaluable in guiding the team through the ups and downs of a playoff run. While there are still hurdles to clear for a potential trade, the idea of Brent Burns donning the blue and white of the Maple Leafs has Toronto fans dreaming of a championship parade down Yonge Street. If the Leafs can pull off this deal, it could be the move that finally pushes them to hockey's ultimate prize.